Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Adam here with Indie Farm Life. So my pond is in self-sabotage mode again. What does that mean? Well, it's trying to drain itself, and remember that we don't have a dam. So what exactly is going on? Let me show you. In a recent video, you saw me fix the leak over there with that clay tile draining the pond. But now the trouble is with the overflow. For those of you who didn't see the construction of our pond and watch those videos, this overflow is an 8-foot concrete pipe that we drilled down and stuck a 6-inch discharge line coming out the side. And when we did, Mike, who did it for us, actually just filled the bottom of that pipe with gravel. So it's not a closed end. And I'll see if I can show you. So there's a 6-inch line coming out of the side. And if this all looks a little bit messed up and not like gravel, well, that's because I've been trying to fix that running water right there. So once I realized that water was pressing up through the bottom of that pipe and then out the discharge as the water level in the pond was continuing to rise, I knew I needed to do something to close that bottom up. So I put 5 bags of Quickcrete down there, and that slowed it quite a bit. But a day later I came back and I still had some seepage through the bottom. Then I put about 25 pounds of hydraulic cement around that pipe head, which is the nasty mess you saw down there. And I kind of smeared it around the bottom to try to close things up. But I was never able to get it to sit underneath that pipe, and so water continues to press up through the bottom. So now what I'll do is I'll walk down to the other end of the discharge, show you how the water's running, and while I don't know that this is going to be the permanent fix I'm looking for, I've got an idea that may temporarily seal things up and help bring the level of the pond up to where I want it. As we walk down here to the discharge, you're going to see that it is actively running. Now, that's not a lot of water in the grand scheme, and if we had a stream feeding the pond every day, I wouldn't care about this amount of water leaving, but this adds up when you don't actually have water coming in every day. I also will say that this is about 1/5 of the water that was originally coming out of here. I actually have some video I'll flip back to, maybe throw in here. I would venture to say we had in the neighborhood of 5 gallons plus a minute coming out of here at one point in time. It's flowing pretty good out of there. Now 5 gallons a minute doesn't sound like a lot on a pond that size, but if you do that math, it comes out to a little more than 200,000 gallons a month, which then equates to about 7 inches that would fall off the pond. An inch acre of water being about 27,000 gallons, I think 154. So this does have the potential to draw a lot of water away from the pond. So you probably already saw what I glued on the end there yesterday. I wanted to give it 24 hours to set up, but I am essentially just going to cap it. I didn't go through the exercise of figuring out how much PSI is going to be exerted on this. I'm really not concerned if this actually blows out at some point, but this is a science experiment for the time being. So without further ado, let's cap this thing up and see what happens. I can live with that drip. Long term, maybe I'll put some thread sealant in there if I really have to. So Adam, with capping that, what do you expect to play out? Well, that 6-inch line is going to fill with water all the way back to the standpipe. The standpipe then, in theory, should fill to the level of the pond, and if all goes well, we won't lose any water other than that little drip, and the pond will continue to rise. Now what happens when you get to the top of the standpipe and you need to let water out? Well, I can manually go down there and open that valve. Actually, putting a valve on there would be better than that cap, but like I said, this is a test. Or again, this pond was fully excavated. There's no dam. So I could really just take the backhoe and cut a spillway in and abandon the concrete pipe. So long term, that's always an option. Or I could fill this pipe in, dig back a few feet, elbow into the 6-inch line that's down there and run it back. If the water gets up above the overflow, I'm not too concerned. We'll find a way to get the water out of here. I'd rather have the problem of having too much water in here than not enough. So as I wait for the 6-inch line in there to fill up, I'm gonna go ahead and throw that collar and the grate back on top. It might take hours for that 6-inch line to fill, so I don't know if I'll even have it in this video for you, but nonetheless, this is the path that I'm going down. So I'll go grab some ratchets and put that collar back on there. But comment below, do you think this is gonna work? What ideas do you have long term? If it were you, would you just go the spillway route or try to dig a new standpipe? Like I said, without a dam here, I'm not that concerned. There's no fear of a dam breach and flooding anyone downstream. So not really a big deal. Just trying to figure out the best way to keep this full. All right, so the collar and the grate are back on. I think I need to maybe level it up a little bit, but the water has not filled the pipe yet. I'm not sure if you can see through the grate down there. Mostly because I had to take the cap off the other end. I went and checked on it before I started that collar, and as expected, the cap that's not made for water standing against it with no pipe sealant or thread sealant was leaking. So I backed it off. I wish I would have videoed it, because in the 20 minutes that it was closed up, the amount of water that came out of there was pretty intense. I put a lot of Teflon paste on it, so we'll check that out and see if it's still holding. Well, there you go. You didn't get to see the water coming out of there, but you can see how it cleaned all the leaves out. And I was very liberal with my application, and it looks to be holding. So we got a little bit of water, maybe up here, seeping around. I could give it a few more turns. I got the wrench back out, but it's gonna work for what I'm doing. So like I said, this is really a science experiment, a band-aid more than a permanent solution, but I'd be curious to hear your guys' thoughts as to what you would do. Open to suggestions. I think long-term that maybe have to be a valve down there, or the better option may be to abandon this pipe and tee into it and set a new one. I just want this thing full. And like I said at the beginning of this video, if you add another 18 inches of water to this and carry that line through, it's gonna be enormous. We're supposed to get some rain Tuesday and Wednesday of this week, so I'll make an update video about this and see where we stand. Hopefully that cap holds. But if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Hope you guys will come back and visit me sometime. I have a lot of pond projects on the docket this spring. We'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.